This one chart really says it better than anything. If you look at this is great, but this chart is pretty amazing right here. All new numbers. Okay.
Though I do have to ask the question of whether or not the suit that Donald Trump wore on Friday is from the Banana Republic. Because when you fire a lifelong bureaucrat whose mere job is to count the numbers, count the numbers, count the number of jobs, this is not a partisan position. This, to me, is the worst of Donald Trump that gets at the conspiracy theories, the idea that the 2020 election was stolen when clearly it wasn't. These job numbers weren't flubbed. This is a reaction to Donald Trump's tariffs that, at least in the near term, at least the job market did not necessarily like. Trump can do a lot of things as president. The presidency is vested in enormous powers. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Right. And in this particular case, I am somebody who studies stats. And, I give Donald Trump, I think, a very fair shake. I give all sides, I think, a pretty fair shake. But it is reliant on the numbers being reliable. And when you make moves like this, you see a little bit of doubt that the numbers going forward with whomever is put in charge of the BLS, all of a sudden, at least in terms of numbers, that they are not nearly what they should be.
But I will say, Harry Enton, he said that, and it included Loathe, I believe. But he also said, was Trump wearing a Banana Republic suit on Friday? Because firing the BLS head because you don't like the jobs number is the worst of Donald Trump. It's the conspiracy theory-laden part of Trump a la the 2020 election. And I would argue that Trump's most lasting impact or his biggest influence has been on Americans' ability to actually know what is true and what is honest. And that starts with the big lie of 2020 with nearly 6 in 10 Republicans.
I thought you were going to say the big lie of 2016.
No, it's a nice try. I know you guys are trying to rehab this. It's not going to work.
You're rehabbing something from 4 years ago.
Nearly 60% of Republicans think that Joe Biden wasn't legitimately elected to be president, and Donald Trump is actually in the midst of what would be his third term. When you get a Bureau of Labor report, which was all well and good 2 months ago when you did like the number and then you fire that person, that's authoritarian stuff. And that tells people that you can't trust the numbers. You can't trust anyone who works in government. He threatens news outlets for coverage he doesn't like. Look what CBS just has to do. The assault on academic freedom, on law firms who represent people that he doesn't like. And then just the straight up lying about what is in the legislation with the reconciliation bill and the millions that will lose their Medicaid coverage. And before you say something, Jesse, about how that's not true, it's just able-bodied people who don't want to go to work. Your favorite senator, second tier, maybe
again.
Josh.
Do me again.
Yeah,
that was
your
good.
imitation of him is
good.
No.
Yeah.
I kind of got a double chin, though.
It's more smart.
Anyway, millions are going to lose their health insurance because of that bill. And Donald Trump looks you in the eye through the camera, and he says it's not true. The war on truth is his lasting legacy.
Donald Trump's policies are so unpopular, and his second term is collapsing so fast that there's no real way for anybody to spin it anymore, not even on Fox News.
Congressman, Americans largely disapprove of the economic policies of this president, at least right now. 55% say they disapprove of his job on the economy, 44% approve. Can you explain those numbers?
Well, I think a lot of people are seeing higher prices. Our family's in the construction business, and we get a lot of our timber from Canada and other countries. Yes, it's higher. Steel prices are up, but it's for the good of the country. And should we expect high prices for a short time? Yes, but overall, we couldn't keep going the way we were going. The cancer in this country was letting other countries rule the day and tax our products. And why should we run a deficit every month? And that's why this president is doing such a good job. And you can't go on, poll numbers vary. They come up, they go down. But the bottom line is he's doing the right thing, and it couldn't come at a better time. And things will get better here.
Congressman Ralph Norman, Republican of South Carolina. Thanks for coming on today.
And, when you say take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is... Okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. D.C., 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. That where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down.
The disconnection of President Trump from facts and reality. Today, he has been having problems with numbers. We can call it Trump math. President Trump has been creating his own equations when it comes to jobs numbers, poll numbers, citing fake numbers to justify actions, ignoring real ones that go against his narrative. Everything the president said to justify her firing, to argue she was politically biased, was wrong. The pre-election jobs report was bad. The post-election revision went up. And he's relying on these lies to take serious actions, which also provides some insight for us as to how the president justifies continuing with policies such as tariffs that are not popular with a broad swath of the American people.
I have the best poll numbers I've ever had. I have poll numbers where I'm 71%. I have the best poll numbers. Look,
those are among Republicans. You know you've got...
No. Among Republicans, I'm at 94 and 95%.
Your haters cite polls that have you down in the 30s, Mr. President. And,
yeah, but they're fake polls.
So there's no serious scientific poll ever that has shown President Trump with an approval rating in the 70s. Just doesn't exist. Nor does he have an approval rating of almost 100% among Republicans, as he claims, although his approval rating with Republicans is high. The latest CNN poll of polls, which provides an average of the most recent credible major polls, shows that Trump's approval rating is at 41%. So the president doesn't know that. And that's indicative of a huge disconnect with the impressions and opinions of the public of the nation that he is leading. Now, the president must know this to a degree because, anticipating losses in the House of Representatives in next year's midterms, he is now pushing Texas to gerrymander 5 additional Republican House seats. And here's how he tried to justify that this morning.
I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know, and we are entitled to 5 more seats.
Here's what I was looking at. 3.1% on the year-over-year core. Definitely hotter than expected. It's hotter than the rearview mirror at 2.9. 3.1 would equal February. The high reading of the year was 3.3 in January, and that was the highest since May of last year. So if I look at the data on the month-over-month basis, exactly as expected. If I look at the year-over-year, obviously we got a little bit warm on the core.
Donald Trump, as we all know, has no real understanding of anything but swindle and con, but he has no real understanding of his policies anyway. He signed the big, beautiful bill into law and kept talking over and over again how about it doesn't touch Medicaid. Now, either he's lying or he doesn't know what's in his bill. He doesn't know what's actually going on out here in the economy, because anytime there's any types of polls that show he's losing popularity, he says like, no, I'm doing better than I ever have. Donald Trump's polling numbers are better than they've ever been before. As if he really believes that. So again, either he's lying or he really believes it. But you got to remember that people who work around him keep that type of information in his face. Otherwise, he basically throws tantrums and collapses. He can't handle it. So he's isolated himself into this bubble where he thinks that all these fake data points are true. This guy on TV talking about well, I know his tariffs are hurting the economy right now, but it's overall good for the country. But Donald Trump doesn't understand the trade deficits because we have way more people here in this country. We're a consumer economy and we live in a world trade economy. So yeah, we're going to have deficits because we buy things from other countries more because we have more money and we have more people. Like it's not more complicated than that, but Donald Trump doesn't understand these basic things, and he's the president of the United States. So he puts these tariffs on all of these products, prices go up. The 99-cent can, Arizona cent can, that's been the same stable price for decades, that's now under threat because of Donald Trump's aluminum tariffs. I mean, he's just throwing tariffs on absolutely everything. This is going to be for the good of the country, but it's not because he's an idiot.